crazy to think if everything went to plan, if Star Wars Outlaws wasn't a complete and total disaster, Assassin's Creed Shadows would already be out in the wild for the better part of a month, and right now, even a couple of months ahead of their, delayed release date, they're announcing brand new features. It's kind of crazy how they were just totally going to ship a game that was, 40% complete and then just patch it up as they go along. Is that how hubristic Ubisoft has become? It's no wonder they're in the dilapidated shape that they are, but let's see how GameSpot wants to talk about this incoming disaster. It's going to be funny, man, because February has a whole host of releases. I already know that Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be gigantic, but what's going to end up being the biggest bomb of the month? Is it going to be Avowed, or is it going to be Shadows? It'll be very, very interesting to see. I'm looking forward to it, because at that point in time, I'm still going to be playing Rebirth on PC, let's keep it a buck, but Assassin's Creed Shadows will bring players to feudal Japan when the game arrives early next year. As you might expect, swords and knives will be a big part of the arsenal of Shadows' two main protagonists, Naoe and gay black samurai Yasuke. However, neither character will be solely reliant on their primary weapons to dish out death. Do you fear death? Ubisoft has shared a lengthy overview of the combat, and oh boy, is it underwhelming in Assassin's Creed Shadows, which also reveals the tools that the lead characters will use in battle. According to Ubisoft, players' choice of weapons and characters dramatically alters combat in the game. Yeah, it's kind of broke-ass Souls-like looking stuff where you just gotta go ahead and time your defenses. Well, maybe not Souls-like in so much as just repurposed Batman Arkham combat. Because of the crowd battles, remember, you used to have to be an assassin in Assassin's Creed. I know, right? Revolutionary thinking here. Where, yeah, in big battles like that, you didn't really want to find yourself. Sure, you could go ahead and square off against somebody who is just untrained and generally come out the other side, but if there was a multitude of guys that could run in and hit you when you're trying to square up with somebody, like just go back to the original from 2007, they had a better grasp on the gameplay, and they weren't derivative of anybody. They were carving their own path, and now they're ripping off better games at a time when their studio has seen better days. First character, Naoe, is a shinobi ninja, and she'll have a katana, ball and chain. Oh god, she's gonna have a mace. What are we doing? Yes, a ball and chain weapon known as a kurisagama and a tanto dagger that allows her to make quick strikes and double assassinations. Yeah, so it's still the same old weapon wheel that Ezio and Altair were basically using, because you had the hidden blades, you had a sword, and you also had throwing knives. Like, what are we doing here, bro? Nothing's really changed all that much. And oh yeah, you had a concealed pistol that you could only use a couple of different times. The samurai Yasuke has a larger arsenal to work with, including a long katana, a naginata, a staff with a blade attached to the end, and a kanabo, spiked war club, and a yumi bow, a tenpo flint rifle. Unlike Naoe, Yasuke can also switch between weapons mid-combo for some devastating attacks. That's real cool and stuff. Where's the assassination stuff coming in? Yasuke's weapons and strength make him well suited for head-on combat, which is exactly what I want for my stealth action franchise. While Naoe's speed and stealth make her ideal for more subtle assassinations on missions. Yeah, but you're supposed to be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, right? Each character has their own light or heavy attacks in addition to the ability to charge their offensive moves with the game calls posture attacks. Yeah, I don't really care about this press release, bro, but most of this stuff really isn't going to matter because, oh, okay, cool, you got common enemies like outlaws, you've got Ashigaru soldiers, Ronin, samurai Daisho, and guardians. It's very feudalistic Japan. Just don't mind the repurposed historical character who is simply a retainer for Nobunaga and nothing else. Don't worry about that. Each of those enemies has their own strengths and weaknesses. Yeah, like Templars and common enemies, how you'd have to, engage in a little bit more of a song and dance with the Templar Knights as opposed to just regular scrubs walking the street. We know, we've been around. Everybody's played an Assassin's Creed game, maybe not in the past decade, but at some point in time. Assassin's Creed Shadows was delayed to, holy crap, I didn't realize it was the 14th, so it's going to come out on Valentine's Day. The same day that Captain Black Falcon America, man. Which black-led franchise is going to end up having a worse Valentine's Day? That's kind of crazy. Oh, I guess we know why both of those projects didn't get delayed until June, because you can't really release these games and that movie on a Father's Day or anything like that. That'd be a little bit too on the nose. Details about the game's Battle Pass recently leaked online, and Ubisoft has stated that the rewards in the Animus Hub are free. Oh, see, we're not trying to microtransaction you to death anymore, or at least we're not going to be upfront about that. And yeah, everything that you play in the game, that's what you're buying, and that's what you can expect, and that's what you can enjoy. Our varied combat and our in-depth storylines that you're going to have to be shepherded through because you're too stupid to make the correct choices. Why are you making, okay, just follow me on this one. Why are you making an open world game if the developers are so inexperienced in telling one of these grandiose stories where they have to walk you through, held by the hand, so that you can have the correct canonical ending? I've defended Mass Effect 3 for it having its relatively lacking variation in its endings, okay? But that was a multi-part saga with a whole host of different branching paths, and yeah, they could have done it a little bit better, of course. So that's been well litigated at this point in time. But they had a story that they ultimately wanted to tell, and they gave you enough choices to go ahead and somewhat satisfy that. But this is just one game, okay? If you can't figure out something that has been the industry standard since the PlayStation 2 days, with multiple endings for a game, you need to have a canon mode, and you also have to retcon previous Assassin's Creed games in order for this to make sense. Because I seen this picture right here and I thought, oh, somebody's gone wild with Grok or one of those AI programs to go ahead and reimagine Yasuke and Naoe into something that looks a little bit more acceptable. But no, this was from a mobile game, I think, Assassin's Creed Memories from 2015. Look at what Ubisoft was putting out. Okay, compare and contrast that with those abomination of characters that they have right now. That's a cool-ass mask that they have. Or Hattori Hanzo, which that right there, yeah, that's a Japanese protagonist if I've ever heard one before. And then Mochizuki Chiyome, I mean, you want to do some geisha shit? That's one aspect of Japanese lore that you could go ahead and explore. But no. We need shinobis. We need a girl that's in there. Cool. In the latest update from the ill-fated title, ongoing development, a batch of Ubisoft devs have confirmed that not only were various retcons needed to make Assassin's Creed Shadows story fit in the established franchise lore, but it's also a new canon mode will allow players to experience said narrative completely free in-game choice mechanics. Oh my god. This is like the Deathless run, or the Deathless option that was afforded to the very few who played the Dragon Age the Veilguard. It was nominated for all of its different accessibility options, and it ended up losing the only award that it was nominated for at the Game Awards. Hilarious. But this one is apparently taking it a step further. I would imagine it probably has all of those mechanics, because also nominated in that category was in fact Star Wars Outlaws, and yeah, its menus were quite extensive. It just didn't help bolster an otherwise broken game. These insights into Shadow's stories were provided to players courtesy of the game director Charles Benoit, creative director Jonathan Dumont, and associate narrative director Brooke Davies, and art director Thierry Dazeneux, or Danseru, whatever, during an AMA session hosted by the trio on, oh my god, the Assassin's Creed Reddit community on November 10th. Amid a flurry of gameplay and release-related questions, the devs were asked by one curious fan as whether or not the Japanese lore from the transmedia and side games Assassin's Creed Memories and Assassin's Creed Blade of Shaojun had been respected and correctly paired with Shadow's world and narrative, or there's some retconned elements. And that's insane, right? Because I was a fairly ardent supporter and would buy up anything with Assassin's Creed name on it, but I have never heard of Blade of Shaojun for sure. But Memories, that might be a little bit familiar. Definitely remember the Chronicles games that were out there. There was a Russian one and there was also a Chinese one, but that might have been the DS, or it might have been on the DS way back in the day, or the 3DS, or maybe it was just mobile, don't know. In turn, and answering a smattering of other inquiries made by the user, Dumont explained, as for the transmedia, we've had to retool some of Assassin's Creed Memories lore. Yeah, because most people don't really know that those exist, so of course they could take liberties with that. You know, take a look at what they did with Yasuke, developed in collaboration between Ubisoft, a Japanese internet and media company, Gree Incorporated, and a mobile developer. Play Next Memories was an iOS exclusive SRPG. Okay, there we go. Which threw players into a number of real-world historical eras, some previously visited, like the Third Crusade, as seen in the first Assassin's Creed, Renaissance Italy, like the second, and the other completely new, such as Sengoku Japan at the height of the Mongol Empire, and tasked them with running, leaping, and slicing their way through the anti-Templar future through the use of the intricate card-based battle system. Oh, that sounds awful. Sadly for fans, the mobile title was not long for this world, as roughly 7 months after releasing the game in August 21st, 2014. Ubisoft would end the service for Memories in March 13th, 2015. Wow. That could have been just at the tail end of my excitement for anything Assassin's Creed, but I never heard of this at all whatsoever. Holy. But shout out to some Redditor for actually, picking that stuff up. And hey, look at that, an Abstergo employee that doesn't look, well, you know, you got the hair dye a little bit. So yeah, you could see Ubisoft creeping in even back then, a decade ago. Notably, both the Mongol Empire and Sengoku-related missions introduced 2 new respective assassins to the series canon, Kualangal and Narugi, representing the former, and the pair of Hanzo Hitori and Yamuchi Taka standing watch over the latter. At this end, it's currently unknown which aspects of either Hanzo or Taka's lore has been changed, but I would imagine that it's probably, don't know anything about Hanzo and Taka. Who? Yeah, exactly. Taka Michinoku, right? Sweet driver and a loved Kai tie back in the cut. In addition to the retcon confirmation, the dev team also provided multiple details concerning Shadow's narrative itself. According to Davies, unlike such franchise entries like Odyssey and Valhalla, Naoe and Yasuke's adventure will culminate in a single canon ending, though there are many unique paths leading to this point. Press X to doubt. And in particular, that will determine who is and isn't at your side along the way. Oh my god, it's going to be like Seven Samurai, guys. Oh my god, remember? Regarding the aspect of player choice, Dumont revealed that though the base game will present multiple instances where players are asked to make decisions that will subsequently have an impact on their experience, with such choices primarily popping up when recruiting allies and romancing some of the characters, the absolute division across the fan base regarding the franchise's branching dialogue had led to the dev team to introduce canon mode. Oh my god. All of these game devs, man, especially in Western-based studios, they just want to be making movies. They think of gaming as a lesser medium, not as an opportunity to tell a much more complex and branching story. No, we got our story in mind, we want to tell it, and now they have the ability to do so because there's somebody stupid enough to allow them to just simply give you the illusion of branching paths, to give you the illusion of making a difference towards the ending. Now, there's actually like a canon mode and everything else is just fanfic. Great, that's actually what you guys are writing now and trying to pass it off as a $60, $70 experience. Separate gameplay mode from the standard campaign. This mode allows you to play the game with the choices already made for you. Oh wow, that's what I play video games for, so they can play them for me. To give you a choice-free experience. Great. Ultimately, exactly what Shadow's story will entail and its necessitations of retcons and the ability to so easily streamline is currently unknown, because it's crazy how much we know about the characters and how they are developing this absolute ass cancer inducing game that is more than likely going to signal the end of Ubisoft and potentially the franchise for a very long time. We know very shocking little about the overall story of this game, and I'd imagine, even without hearing about memories, I can imagine that, Hanzo is probably being treated better than Yasuke and whatever in the blue hell they're going to be doing moving forward, because Ubisoft at this point in time, I've seen the story, okay, that they presented with Star Wars Outlaws, and I understand that was massive games, not one of Ubisoft's in-house studios, so yeah, it's going to be a little bit different, but the fact that they gave the go-ahead for that abomination kind of leads me to believe that even with a canon mode, even with a hand-holding experience, any of the technical limitations, any of the gameplay bugs or anything like that, that is more than likely still going to be a part of this game because they gave themselves a few extra months, but they're still a totally incompetent studio, so those are still going to be out there. This story, this dialogue, these characters are going to be insufferable. You are going to pray for these unknown 2015 characters. I'm already looking back and thinking a little bit more fondly of Altair, even though I didn't really dislike him back in the day, but February is going to be an interesting time. Black History Month, Black Japanese History Month over there at Ubisoft, and that's the last few dying days because the Tencent takeover, that's also coming at the beginning of the year, and when Shadows ultimately flops, do you think they're going to be a little bit more enthusiastic for a takeover? 2025 is going to be a fun year over at the Big U. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.